Since this new year is known as the Year of the Dragon, then I figure I review some martial arts movies. And let me tell you, Enter the Dragon is probably one of the best martial arts films I have seen, and it's quite entertaining even more than 50 years later. Now I'm going to be honest, this was the first time that I had watched a Bruce Lee movie, and before anyone goes in the comment section and types that I was missing out, yeah, you're right. And it's not that I was never interested in checking out his movies, it's just that I grew up watching Jet Li and Jackie Chan films, but I always had mad respect for the late martial artists. So the story of this one is that it follows a Shaolin martial artist named Lee who ends up going to a private island in order to investigate a suspected crime lord named Han. But when Lee finds out that one of the men on the island is responsible for his sister's death, it becomes personal, and on his journey he is accompanied by two men. A gambling addict named Roper and a Vietnam War veteran named Williams. And from there, it's a movie that is very compelling. The characters, the story, the music, the fight scenes, even the acting is great. And I certainly would say this is one of the definite martial arts films of all time. It is because of Bruce Lee. The man is an icon, from video games to TV shows to even movies. He was a martial arts legend in his own right. It's because of his fighting style, of his mannerisms. And that's what really sets this film apart compared to other martial arts movies I have seen throughout the years. And because of this one, I do want to check out his other movies, and certainly I just want to know what kind of a movie career the man had. I couldn't help but notice that this film is oddly reminiscent of 1995's Mortal Kombat. They're basically the same movie, with the difference being that there's a few magical ninjas in Mortal Kombat compared to Enter the Dragon. Like the three main warriors, they go to the island, they treat it to a huge feast. There's an Asian guy that shows up that is oddly reminiscent. He reminded me of Shang Tsung a little bit, only without the powers. And then there's also a main character in the film called Bolo. Like, does that ring a bell? Could Mortal Kombat 1995 be any similar? But anyway, I thought overall this film was just great. The late Bruce Lee did such an amazing job in this movie. Sure, his acting wasn't that, good to be honest, but the fight scenes more make up for his, acting. Like, just seeing him, toss these young guys around like nothing, sound effects. It's a classic martial arts film. What else can I say? I didn't know this, but Jackie Chan, apparently, he's in this film playing an uncredited role. I was like, what? So somewhere in the film, those two have fought each other. I always thought that was cool. When I found that out, I was just like amazed by it. The late Jim Kelly, he too did a good job. He's playing this, martial artist who actually is a part of a black dojo. He learns Kung Fu. He actually has some pretty cool lines, I must say. And then there's the late John Saxon, being the rich playboy. He goes to the island where the three of them actually encounter some difficult, circumstances. One thing about this film I had heard about is that the fighting is top tier. And yeah, I agree. It still holds up. And I've seen some other martial arts films where they actually went for brutality. This one right here, yeah, it does get brutal on some level, but it's not as, quick paced compared to some of the martial arts films that I have seen. But I would say that the story is real interesting, and just how the movie parallels other, films that came out during that time, basically. Like, martial arts films in the 70s, it's going to feel vastly different to a martial arts film that comes out today. The sad thing is that the late Bruce Lee tragically passed away even before this film even came out. But the legacy he had left behind, it still, rings true today. He's known as one of the best martial art fighters of all time. And I definitely want to check out some more of his films. So this is a interesting note, but just how this film is more entertaining than a lot of the modern day fighting movies that are released today. Still though, when it comes down to it, this is quite an enjoyable film. And if you somehow haven't seen this one, then check it out because it is quite a thrill ride from beginning to end. I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10. The legacy of this one speaks for itself because it's one of the most influential action films of all time. And it also led to the worldwide mainstream interest of martial arts, and as well inspiring numerous fictional works such as TV shows, action movies, video games, comic books, and anime. The cultural impact of this film is still being felt even 5 decades later. And certainly this is a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed, it's entertaining, and more importantly it kept my interest all throughout, because if it wasn't for these interesting characters then this would have been another generic martial arts movie, but thankfully that's not the case because this one is straight up a thrill ride from beginning to end. And that's my review of Enter the Dragon. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. In fact, what are some of your favorite Bruce Lee films? Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.